Can I welcome everyone to the second meeting in 2020 of the Delegated Powers and Law Reform Committee. The first item of business is to propose the committee takes items 5, 6, 7 and 8 in private, as these involve consideration of future reports, and these will be published when agreed. So does the committee agree to that?
Agreed.
Thank you. Agenda item 2, we're considering an instrument subject to the affirmative procedure. No points have been raised on the draft fuel poverty additional amount in respect of remote rural area, remote small town and island area, Scotland Regulations 2020. So is the committee content with this instrument? Thank you. Agenda item 3 is to consider instruments that are subject to negative procedure. The first one is the Sea Fish Prohibited Methods of Fishing Firth of Clyde Order 2019 SSI 2019-419. This order prohibits, subject to certain exceptions, all methods of fishing within specified areas of the Firth of Clyde by British fishing boats from the 14th of February until the 30th of April during both 2020 and 2021. And this is in order to protect cod in the Firth of Clyde during its spawning period. The instruments laid subject to negative procedure under Section 25 of the Sea Fishing Conservation Act 1967. Now, a question arises as to the proper interpretation of that provision. The committee acknowledges the Scottish Government's position that, as modified by Section 22A 11B of the 1967 Act, Section 25 should be read as providing that any reference to the annulment of an instrument by resolution of each or either House of Parliament shall be construed as a reference to annulment of the instrument by resolution of the Scottish Parliament. And while the committee agrees that the negative procedure therefore applies to this instrument, it notes that this could be more clearly expressed. The Scottish Government has committed to identifying an early opportunity to do this. So does the committee therefore agree to draw this instrument to the attention of Parliament under the general reporting ground? Okay. Does the committee wish to welcome the Scottish Government's commitment to identify an early opportunity to expressly clarify the parliamentary procedure that applies in the Scottish Parliament to instruments laid under Section 25 of the 1967 Act? Okay. Excuse me. Next, we come to the restriction of liberty order, etc. Scotland Amendment Regulations 2019 SSI 2019-423. The order updates the list of specified equipment that can be used for the purposes of electronic monitoring in Scotland. The order was laid before Parliament on the 17th of December 2019 and came into force on the 20th of December 2019. This does not comply with the requirement that at least 28 days should elapse between the laying of an instrument which is subject to the negative procedure and the coming into force of that instrument. The committee is therefore required by standing orders to draw the instrument to the attention of Parliament. So the first question is, does the committee agree to draw the instrument to the attention of Parliament under reporting ground J? Okay. Now, as members will recall, the committee wrote to the Cabinet Secretary for Justice last week to ask for more details on why the Scottish Government brought this instrument into force only 3 days after it was laid. This is a significant breach of the 28-day rule. Members will have seen Mr Yousaf's response, which gives the committee a better understanding of why the new equipment to monitor individuals subject to a restriction of liberty order was required over the Christmas period. The committee will, I'm sure, wish to welcome the Cabinet Secretary's commitment to consider how any similar risks may be mitigated in future so that laying requirements can be met and appropriate parliamentary scrutiny maintained. In saying that, it's still unclear when the government were made aware of the potential shortage of monitoring equipment. Mr Yousaf said that this only became apparent, quotes, a few weeks before parliamentary recess. Now, while it may still have been necessary to breach the 28-day rule could more than 3 days' notice have been provided. With this in mind, does the committee wish to highlight the Cabinet Secretary's response to the lead committee, while also making clear the importance this committee puts on parliamentary scrutiny and the Scottish Government's statutory obligations? While breaching the 28-day rule may at times be unavoidable, it should only be done when no alternatives exist. The reasoning provided to the Parliament by the Government should clearly state the reason for the breach, provide details of when the Government was made aware of the issue, as well as what other options were explored. So is the committee content to report in this way? Okay. Thank you. And no points have been raised on SSIs 2019 425, 426 or 427. So is the committee content with these instruments? Thank you. Agenda item 4, we're considering an instrument that's not subject to any parliamentary procedure. No points have been raised on SSI 2019 428. Is the committee content with this instrument? Okay, and I'll move the meeting into private.